Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme. Thank you very much for joining me on this gorgeous Saturday, and welcome to all the new subscribers as well. So, what a week. Did you have a big week too? I haven't checked, but I'm wondering if we might be due for Mercury in retrograde soon, or if perhaps Mercury was in retrograde, because this was a big week for a few things. It was a really big week for boundaries, as you heard on Wednesday's podcast. And it was thanks for writing in and sharing your experiences too. I feel like so many of us had our boundaries tested this week. So well done you for moving through that. But if you're still trying to deal with boundary issues, just a few quick reminders for you. First off, and this always gets easier with hindsight. So if you're in the throes of it at the moment, you may not be able to do this, but think about this, when you've had some space between the boundary breach and so what I would like you to think about is how this lesson was given to you by the universe and what is being asked of you right now. And it's when we can see the lesson from things that we transmute the energy from something being really bad and uncomfortable and yucky to something being very expansive. So we want to shift that energy all the time, and we have to trust that the things that are happening for us, even though it might not feel like it. But there's a reason that this boundary has been pushed. And maybe it's time for you to reflect on, how you're contributing to this boundary being pushed. Is there something that you're doing, or a way that you're being, or speaking or acting or behaving that's giving people the idea that it's okay to push your boundaries? And so that can show up in ways like, I don't know, if you're going the extra mile for people, when normally you would stick within, the framework of your program or your service or the way you like to work. Maybe you've gone above and beyond, and now somebody's being more demanding of your time, and it's starting to bring up resentment for you. I know for me, and I don't know if this has been your experience, but I know sometimes when I have gone the extra mile for clients, they've ended up being the biggest headache in the end. And so it's really been a lesson for me in terms of understanding my boundaries and what I wanted, how I want to work moving forward. So maybe that's something that's come up for you this week. I don't know. Maybe it's been a different boundary. Maybe a policy or procedure or process has been broken. So you want to really have a look at how you're responsible for that. And although, this isn't victim blaming or anything like that, number one, I don't think you're a victim. Number two, I'm definitely not blaming you. I'm trying to empower you by helping you see things from a different angle and saying that, maybe there's something that you've been doing that's been giving people the idea that it's safe for them to push your boundaries. That's the first thing that I want you to take away. The second thing, as I mentioned before, is you can always transmute the energy of something being unwanted and unpleasant to being a learning experience for your growth, which sounds a bit, uninspiring in some ways, but you really can. If you can identify what it is that caused this to happen in the first place, you can absolutely stop it from happening again by making a few tweaks to how you run the business. And then the third thing, what was the third thing that I wanted to say? Oh, the third thing that I wanted to say was, if you've got all your policies and procedures in place and you're doing all of the right things, and they feel really aligned, and somebody's still not happy with you, remember that You are neutral. Your programs and services are neutral. Your fees are neutral. Everything's neutral. The only thing that's not is what's going on for the other person. So they're bringing their own stuff to the conversation, to the table, and that's nothing that you have any control over. You don't have any insight into what's going on for them, but their wounded feminine has most likely been triggered in some way. And so how do we respond to wounded feminine? Wounded feminine really loves drama and really loves, hassle and arguing and, gets really impassioned about things and really wants to, you know what I mean? Like get stuck in. And when you're in private practice and you're running a business, you need to be in your healthy masculine, which is not emotional. It's not about drama. It's not about connecting in with how you're feeling. It's about what you're doing, your structure, your policies, your procedures, all those sorts of things. So never, ever, 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 ever meet a client in her drama. Okay, or his drama. Don't meet clients in there because nothing's actually going to get resolved, and you're not serving them or helping them in any way by meeting them in the drama, because all we're going to do then is help them embody a story that drama is how they get their needs met. And we want to help all of our clients see that you don't need to be in wounded feminine energy to get your needs met, that you can get them by being in the healthy energy as well, which is through nice communication, through relationship building, through movement, through creativity, through building relationships and connections, all those sorts of things. So if you notice that the person on the other side of this issue that you're having is caught up in her drama, that's a sign for you to stay in your healthy masculine. Don't buy into it. You just continue to provide the container of the structure, however that looks for you in your practice. So they're the three things that I want you to take away that kind of follow on from Wednesday's conversation, because I want to honor those of you who messaged me, and 2 people emailed me as well, wanting a little bit more information on managing boundaries in the practice. So there you go. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk with you today just on that, well, not really on that, but I love talking about masculine and feminine energy. And do you know what? Sometimes people will say things to me like, I feel like my feminine energy is blocked. And I want you to know there's no such thing as a block. Your energy's there. It might just be stagnant perhaps, but it's always there, and you always have it in the sacred and divine, and you also have it in the wounded or the shadow, depending on what terms you want to use. But in order to help you find your position of alignment in your private practice, alignment with your purpose, alignment with your, money flow, all of those sorts of things, we need to help you learn how to better embody that sort of feminine side. So today in this episode, I just quickly want to speak into that for a moment. So as you heard before, the qualities of the masculine energy are really around things like being really confident, being assertive, having the boundaries, making the plans, having the structure. What does this look like in private practice? Well, as a private practice owner, you're going to have routines set up, schedules set up, diaries set up, automations set up, systems set up, processes set up, or all of that sort of foundational structural type of stuff set up for the practice. And this is the other thing. When you're actually at work and you're noticing that you're in your masculine energy, you're going to be single focused. You're going to be focusing on one task at a time. And that means that you're not going to cope with being bothered, interrupted, distracted, or anything like that. You're going to be focused on things like what you need to get done in that moment, security. So security usually means finances and making sure we've paid the lease and making sure, we've got our insurances and making sure that, we've got a safe place to work in and all of those sorts of things. And protection. So protection looks like making sure you've got, I don't know, if you run EAP contracts, you want to make sure they're all sort of teed up and in alignment with the practice as well. So when you're in that energy, you're really identified with being productive, and fulfilling a plan, fulfilling a goal, fulfilling a mission, loves ticking things off, loves that to-do list. The masculine energy is probably going to come to work every day and eat the same thing for lunch, drink coffee at the same time, eat the apple at the same time, stay at the desk for a long time, maybe not get up and go for meals, may be seen by others as perhaps very busy. Don't interrupt her, she's so busy, stuff like that. That's when you're in the masculine energy. When you're in the feminine energy, it's different, and you probably notice that you're in this space more in the direct client work because it really honors relationships, compassion, forgiveness, connection, empathy, nurturing, nourishing, rejuvenating. She's in flow, and this beautiful feminine energy, think about how a river flows or how water flows. It's always changing. There's always a new direction, a new path. And so she really loves variety and doing different things. And that type of feminine energy is not interested in a to-do list, does not like feeling constrained by a diary, wants to work her own hours in her own way when it suits her. She'll get the work done, but not in maybe the time that her boss needs it to be done. She'd rather do it maybe after hours and spend her time at work doing other things. She loves, things like being really aware, but thinking lots of different things all at the one time. And that's probably what makes us really good therapists, because we're able to, be very present with our clients, but at the same time, be able to perhaps think about where's this client going with this, what's contributed to this, what does the client need to connect in with right now, what's the energy here, all those sorts of things. She loves being creative, loves being identified with feeling and mood, and she loves receiving. It's how she feels fulfilled. Okay, so doing things that fill her up, whether that's I don't know, I want to use some very traditional ideas just off the top of my head, but feeling filled up for her would mean socializing because it's around connections. It might mean shopping, buying things, buying furnishings for the home, buying candles for the home, buying food to cook and eat and nourish and all of those sorts of things. Having a pampering day, that's filling up, okay? The masculine energy is the opposite, loves to be empty. So he loves a meditation. Leave me alone, I'm meditating. That masculine energy comes home from work and says, don't bother me, I just need half an hour to calm down. I'm going to go out to the shed. This energy loves peace and quiet, doesn't want to make plans for the weekend. Whereas the feminine energy is like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Who are we seeing? Okay. So masculine energy loves doing, the feminine loves being. But in terms of how do we run a successful private practice? How do we become visible? How do we attract the right clients? How do we niche the business? How do we become profitable, if I didn't say that already? We need to be harmonizing both of those. And the thing that happens a lot with women, in particular in private practice, is we get caught up in the masculine energy. And a lot of the time it's healthy, but it can also shift into that unhealthy energy as well. We see that sometimes with things like feeling like we're competing against colleagues. How come she's doing it well and I'm not? I must need to work harder, not wanting to be creative and look for other solutions, just wanting to keep doing the same thing all the time. Because this is the thing, the masculine energy loves routine. It's going to, go to the shops, see a t-shirt, love that t-shirt, and then buy 5 of it all in different colors. Whereas the feminine is going to be like, well, I want a t-shirt and a dress and a jacket and the shoes and, right? The masculine says, I'm going to take the same tomato, cheese, and onion sandwich to work every day this week. Whereas the feminine says, well, I want a salad roll on Monday. I want a soup on Tuesday. I want leftovers on Thursday. Do you know what I mean? The masculine says, right, this is how I want to structure my diary. I want to see clients in the mornings and then have the afternoons for this. Whereas the feminine says, I'm open to anything. I'm not going to say no. And so she's more sort of flexible, if you like. But here's the thing, when we're just stuck in the masculine, we're not allowing ourselves room to receive. And if you're not receiving, then you're not going to know what your niche is. You won't be profitable in the practice because you're not receiving, you're not in the space of receiving. You're not going to get the new opportunities. You're not going to be connecting in with your soul and all of those sorts of things either. So I believe that part of the reason women don't allow themselves to tune in more to the feminine, just like a side note here. I see women tune into the feminine when they go on Canva. It seems to be like a way that they legitimize being in the feminine space, and they love it. And they're like, people say to me, oh my gosh, I spent all afternoon on Canva. I can't believe where the time went. But they were so lost in their bliss because they've been so creative and making things for people, and they were in flow and designing, and they were loving it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm just talking about the ones who love it, and they feel like it's safe and it's okay for them to be in that feminine energy because it's related to the work. And here's what I want you to know. Getting into receiving mode is the work. You are working when you're allowing yourself to get into receiving mode. Okay? Because that's where everything's going to come to you. All right. If you just keep doing, you're not creating space for what's coming, and you put yourself at risk of all sorts of things, like feeling like you're not good enough, maybe burning out, maybe thinking you're not cut out for this, and how come everybody else can do it and you can't, and all that sort of stuff. And it's not necessary. And I'm here because I want you to know it's not necessary, and I want you to know that if you can take your foot off the accelerator for a little while, and you allow yourself, what feels very decadent and indulging, to be in that feminine space in a work capacity, you will start to see results come to you. Okay, so there are some things that you can do, and again, these all sound very traditional, but the feminine loves to move. So get out at lunchtime, go for a big walk, have a dance break, put on your favorite playlist, things like that. Allow your body just to move. Doing things that make you feel special, like spraying on a nice perfume, upgrading your eyeshadow or your mascara, upgrading your shampoo or conditioner, buying a nice article of clothing to wear that makes you feel really feminine, and maybe it's floaty or florally or something like that. Allowing yourself a time or a day or an afternoon or a morning in the week where it's client free and you can just do what you want with that time. So not having any plans at all, and just allowing yourself to do whatever you feel like in that block of time. Connecting in with being creative, and there's so many different ways that you can do that. So in a private practice sense, of course, it may be about jumping on Canva. It might be updating your website. It might be, taking some nice photos. Get rid of the stock photos and go out to the beach or go out to nature and take your own photos and upload those onto the website. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to do just artistic things, but you could cook, you could go and socialize, you could journal, you could work in the garden. There's so many different things that you can do. And of course, the feminine loves to be sensual. And I don't mean that in a sexual way. I mean it in terms of the five senses. So doing things that allows that energy to touch new things, taste things, smell things that are pleasing to smell, look at things and listen to things that feel nourishing, fulfilling, rejuvenating, replenishing, all those sorts of things. And finding pockets of time in the day where you can allow yourself to do that. So there's some ways that you can begin to introduce the role of the healthy feminine energy into the private practice. And this is one of the things that I love so much. It's why I teach it. And in fact, some of the feedback that I've had from women that I've taught, the integration and the harmonization of masculine and feminine energy too, have said to me, I finally feel like I've got permission now. I feel like I've got permission to take my foot off the accelerator. And so this is why I built the class. As I said, the class doesn't open until the end of June. It's the 24th of June it opens. But if you want to go on the waiting list for that, let me know. I'll put a link in the show notes to my email. Just click that and put your name, and I'll add you to the VIP waiting list. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to be speaking a little bit more about masculine and feminine over the coming weeks. And if you have any questions, let me know, because I would love nothing more than to answer those for you. And, my goal is to help you feel so connected and so lit up and so energized and so just in love with your private practice like I do. And because I've done it, I know it's possible for you too. And so I want to teach you the way that I've done it and how I've done it, so that you can experience this for yourself and finally have the peace of mind and have the joy and the love that, was probably the whole reason you got into therapy in the first place. Yep. Anyway, my lovelies, I will let you go. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.